And then, of course, it started pouring rain.
Of course.
So Robbins is like scrambling, trying to salvage the night,
Right.
find a restaurant, anything to fix it.
It's like that knee-jerk reaction we all have to
Yeah.
try and control things, especially when we're stressed.
Exactly. And so here's where it gets interesting.
Okay.
She finally just gives up,
Yeah.
throws in the towel, gives Oakley $40, and tells him to go get tacos with his friends.
Wow.
And she's watching them run off in the rain,
Mm-hmm.
laughing, splashing in puddles,
Yeah.
totally unfazed by the downpour. And she realizes that her attempts to control the night
Right.
were actually robbing everyone of the joy
That's so true.
of the moment.
Right.
And this small event
Yeah.
sparks this huge realization
Okay.
that clinging to control can actually backfire.
Right.
Sometimes letting go is the best way to create happiness
Yeah.
for ourselves and for others.
So a disastrous prom night becomes a life lesson in letting go.
Yeah.
But how does this turn into an actual theory?
Well, so she takes this idea
Okay.
and creates this visual metaphor that she calls the seesaw of control.
Ooh, I love a good visual. Tell me more.
Okay, so picture yourself and another person
Mm-hmm.
on opposite ends of a seesaw, right?
Okay.
So when you're trying to control things, you can't
Right.
like other people's opinions or actions.
Yeah.
It's like you're pushing down on your end,
Okay.
trying to force the other side up.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
What?
You end up stuck on the low end,
Ugh.
feeling powerless and weighed down.
Yeah, that seems awful. It's exhausting, and it ultimately gets you nowhere.
Right. It's like you're putting all this energy into something that's out of your hands.
Exactly. But when you say let them, it's
Yeah.
like you're pushing off the ground. You release that need to control.
Mm-hmm.
And then guess what happens?
What?
You rise up.
Yeah.
You're no longer at the bottom struggling for control.
Right.
It shifts the whole dynamic.
Wow.
And you reclaim that sense of power.
So it's not about giving up completely.
Right.
It's more like strategically choosing where to focus your energy.
That's it. That's the key.
Oh,
And
okay.
Robbins emphasizes that it's not just let them.
Oh,
There's a second part.
interesting. Okay.
Is let me.
All right. So we're letting go of trying to control others, but what does let me mean?
Okay, so let me is about taking back control
Okay.
of your own reactions, actions, and boundaries.
Mhm.
It's not about being passive. It's about actively choosing
Right.
how you respond to situations.
It's not resignation, it's empowerment. Exactly. So she gives this example
Okay.
of being on a girls' weekend trip
Okay.
that she wasn't invited to.
Oh,
And, she sees pictures on social media
yeah.
and immediately feels that jealousy, feeling left out,
Mhm.
wondering if she did something wrong.
Right.
And then that urge to control kicks in,
Oh, yeah.
trying to figure out how to get back in their good graces.
Oh, I've been there.
Right.
Yeah,
That need to control can be strong.
it is.
But instead of spiraling,
Okay.
she uses the let them theory.
Okay.
She acknowledges
Mhm.
that her friends have the right to choose who they spend time with.
Right.
Let them have their fun without her.
She's letting go of that need to manage the situation.
Yes. And then comes the let me.
Okay.
She focuses on what she can control,
Right.
and she realizes she's been so busy with work
Mm-hmm.
that she hasn't been prioritizing her friendships.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So she decides to let me make more of an effort, to reach out, to connect with people who energize her.
So it's about taking responsibility for your own happiness and your social life
Exactly.
rather than relying on others.
Yes, let them plus let me
Yeah,
is not about being a doormat.
right.
It's about choosing where to invest your energy wisely.
This let them plus let me combo seems like it could apply to so many situations.
Totally.
So how does Robbins suggest we actually put this into practice in our everyday lives?
Well, she provides a ton of examples, but she starts by tackling
Okay.
something that we all deal with,
Okay.
stress.
Right.
She argues that a lot of our stress
Mm-hmm.
comes from trying to control things that we simply cannot.
Right.
And let them theory is all about reclaiming a sense of power in those situations.
All right. I'm all ears. How do we let them our stress away?
Okay, so one of the simplest yet most effective techniques
All right.
is this three-step process. Let them, plus let me, plus deep breaths.
I like it.
So she uses this example
Okay.
of being stuck on a plane next to someone
Yeah.
who's coughing nonstop,
Oh, I can picture it now.
right?
The frustration.
You feel trapped.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't make them stop.
Nope.
So that's where let them theory comes in.
Okay.
First you say let them cough.
You're surrendering to the fact that you can't change it.
Right. Then you move to let me.
Okay.
You focus on your own reaction.
Okay.
And that's where the deep breaths come in.
Okay. I'm intrigued. How do deep breaths help?
Okay, so deep breathing isn't just like some fluffy self-help tactic.
Right.
It's actually backed by neuroscience.
Okay.
She references the work of Dr. Aditi Nirkar,
Okay.
who is a Harvard-trained physician
Wow.
who specializes in stress resilience.
Okay.
And she explains that when we take deep breaths,
Mm-hmm.
we activate our vagus nerve,
Okay.
which is like
Yeah.
hitting the pause button
Right.
on your stress response.
Oh, wow.
It sends a signal to your brain to chill out, which helps you respond more calmly to whatever's going on.
So deep breathing isn't just a way to, like, feel better. It's literally changing how our brain reacts to stress.
Exactly. So Robbins emphasizes that by taking those few deep breaths,
Yeah.
you're giving yourself that moment to reset before reacting,
Yeah.
which helps you take back control of your emotions
So powerful.
rather than letting them hijack your whole day.
Oh, I love how actionable this is.
Right.
Let them plus let me plus deep breaths. It's something you can use anywhere.
Anywhere, anytime.
Have you ever tried this yourself?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I used to get so stressed sitting in traffic, completely at the mercy of the road ahead.
Oh, the worst.
But then I started using this technique.
Okay.
Let them drive slowly.
Okay.
Let me relax,
Okay.
listen to some music,
All right.
take some deep breaths.
It really makes a difference.
It's amazing how much of a difference it makes.
It's so easy to let those little annoyances get under our skin
It really is.
throughout the day.
And the more we practice let them theory in these small moments,
Right.
the easier it becomes to apply it
Okay.
to bigger challenges in our lives.
I like that. Yeah.
Like our careers, our relationships.
Well, we've just scratched the surface here.
We have.
It sounds like let them theory can apply to any area of our lives.
Oh, yeah. It's a whole new way of approaching the world.
Deep divers, stick around for part 2, where we'll explore even more ways.
Yes.
This theory can help us navigate the ups and downs of work, family, and everything in between.
Absolutely.
We'll be back soon.
We will.
Okay, so we've learned how let them theory can help us handle everyday stress. But what about those bigger challenges, like feeling trapped in a job?
Yeah.
That makes us miserable.
Well, Robbins dives right into that.
Okay.
She actually uses this hilarious example of Boss Steve,
Okay.
this like incompetent manager
Right.
who is totally clueless,
Mm-hmm.
making promises he never keeps, basically stringing everyone along.
Oh, I think we've all encountered a boss Steve or two.
Right.
But Robin's message isn't just to laugh it off, is it?
No, not at all.
Okay.
She actually has a pretty powerful message
Okay.
about feeling stuck in a bad job.
Okay.
She says you are never truly stuck.
Mm-hmm.
You always have a choice to leave.
That's a bold statement.
Yeah.
But aren't there times when staying in a job, even if you're unhappy, might be the best choice
Sure.
for maybe like financial reasons or family obligations?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Robbins acknowledges that those factors are real
Right.
and important.
Yeah.
But what she's really getting at
Okay.
is that we often give away our power
Mm-hmm.
by telling ourselves we have to stay,
Right.
that we have no options.
Yeah.
And that mindset keeps us stuck
Right.
in a cycle of resentment and misery.
It's so true.
So even if leaving isn't immediately feasible,
Right.
let them theory can help us
Okay.
shift our perspective and start
Yeah.
taking steps to change our situation.
So instead of like fixating on how awful our job is,
Yeah.
we can focus on what we can control.
Right. And this is where the let me comes in. You update your resume, you take some online courses,
Right.
you start networking.
Yeah.
Even small steps like that can help you feel less trapped.
It's about taking back control, even if it's just mentally at first.
Exactly. And research actually supports this idea.
Oh, wow.
Studies have shown that when people feel like they have no control over their situation,
Right.
it triggers a stress response.
Okay.
But taking action, even small steps, can reduce that feeling of helplessness
Oh, interesting.
and actually lower stress levels.
So it's not just about quitting a job. It's about taking ownership of your career path
Exactly.
and recognizing that you have more agency than you think.
Now, Robbins doesn't just stop at work woes.
Okay.
She applies let them theory to all kinds of situations where we
Okay.
get caught up
Yeah.
in trying to control other people's behavior.
Right.
She tells this great story about being on a hike and coming across.
Oh, I can relate. I'm a dog owner, and it drives me crazy when people don't pick up after their pets. What happened on the hike?
So she's trying to enjoy nature,
Yeah.
be present,
Right.
all that good stuff.
Mm.
But she keeps encountering these piles of dog poop
Mm-hmm.
that people haven't bothered to bag.
Oh, worse.
And it's ruining her peaceful hike.
Right.
And she starts getting increasingly annoyed,
Yeah.
trying to let them do their thing.
Right.
But then she sees someone deliberately kick leaves
Oh, no.
over their dog's mess instead of cleaning it up.
That's even worse.
That's when she realizes that sometimes let them isn't enough.
Okay.
Doesn't mean you have to just accept bad behavior.
So are there times when we do need to take action?
Absolutely.
Speak up, set boundaries?
The key is to be discerning,
Okay.
to choose your battles wisely.
Okay.
So she suggests asking yourself,
Mm-hmm.
will this still bother me in an hour, a week, a year?
Right.
If the answer is yes,
Okay.
then maybe it's worth addressing.
Yeah.
But if it's something that will fade away quickly,
Right.
maybe it's better to let them be
Yeah.
and save your energy for something more important.
It's about filtering out the minor annoyances and focusing on the things that truly impact our well-being.
Right. And Robbins even takes this idea into the realm of politics.
Oh, okay.
You know, acknowledging how easy it is to get swept up
Oh, yeah.
in the 24/7 news cycle and social media debates.
Oh, I think we've all experienced that feeling of political overload.
It's everywhere.
It is.
And her advice is to be mindful
Okay.
of how much energy we're spending
Yeah.
on things we can't control.
Right.
We can't single-handedly change the government
Right.
or the entire political system,
Nope.
but we can choose
Okay.
how we engage with it,
Right.
how much space we give it in our lives.
It's about protecting our own mental and emotional space.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Let them have their opinions, their beliefs, even if they're different from yours.
Yeah.
And let me focus on the things I can control, my own actions, my vote, my community involvement.
It's about finding that balance between staying informed and engaged,
Hmm.
but also knowing when to step back and protect your own peace of mind.
Now let's shift gears and talk about how let them theory can help us navigate our personal relationships,
Okay.
especially with family and friends.
I'm ready to dive into that. Family dynamics can be tricky,
They can.
and sometimes those relationships can be the most challenging to navigate.
So Robbins gets really into this.
Okay.
And she introduces this concept
Okay.
called frame of reference,
Okay.
which basically means everyone sees the world
Mm.
through a unique lens,
Okay.
shaped by their experiences, beliefs, and values.
It's like we're all wearing different colored glasses, so we're not seeing the same reality.
Exactly. And our frame of reference is
Yeah.
often influenced by our upbringing, our culture, our personal history.
Yeah.
And she shares this story about her own mother, initially disapproving of her husband, Chris.
Oh, I think many of us have been there. A parent who doesn't quite get our partner.
It's a classic source of tension.
Yeah.
And Robbins explains that her mother's disapproval wasn't really about Chris as a person.
Okay.
It was about her fear of losing her daughter,
Oh.
of her moving away and starting a family far from home.
So by understanding her mom's frame of reference,
Yes.
Robbins could see the situation from a different perspective.
Exactly.
And maybe even find some compassion for her mom's reaction.
It's not about excusing their behavior,
Right.
but rather gaining empathy for their motivations.
Okay.
It allows us to see beyond the surface
Mm.
and understand the deeper reasons behind their actions,
Right.
which can help us navigate those tricky family conversations with more patience and understanding.
So how does let them theory actually play out in these situations?
So Robbins says that when dealing with family,
Yeah.
it's essential to let them have their opinions,
Right.
even if they're different from yours.
You can't control what they think or feel,
Right.
but you can control how you respond.
It's about choosing to engage in a way that feels respectful, even if you disagree.
And this ties into another common source of stress in our lives, comparison.
Yes.
Robbins is very open about her own struggles
Okay.
with social media
Mhm.
and the pressure to present a perfect image.
It's everywhere.
She admits she was actually terrified to post about her business
Really?
for 2 years.
Wow.
Because she was so worried about what people would think.
It's refreshing to hear someone so successful admit to those insecurities.
Right.
I think we all struggle with comparison, especially in the age of social media.
Absolutely. It's so easy to get caught up
Yeah.
in the highlight reels of other people's lives
Right.
and feel like we're not measuring up.
It's so true.
But Robbins's point is that we're wasting so much energy
Right.
trying to control other people's perceptions of us.
Yeah.
Instead, she encourages us to let them think whatever they want. That's a really liberating thought.
It is.
It's about focusing on what truly matters to us rather than seeking validation from others.
Exactly. And she takes this even further
Okay.
by suggesting we can actually use jealousy as a source of inspiration.
Oh, interesting.
She tells this story about her friend Molly,
Okay.
who was furious with this acquaintance,
Okay.
who had suddenly become a successful interior designer, even though she seemingly had no prior experience.
I think we've all felt that pang of jealousy when someone achieves something we've always dreamed of.
It's a natural human emotion.
It is.
But Robbins points out that often the people who trigger our jealousy are actually showing us what's possible.
Right.
They're inadvertently revealing opportunities or paths we hadn't considered before.
Interesting.
So instead of letting jealousy consume us,
Right.
we can choose to reframe it as inspiration.
It's about shifting from a scarcity mindset to an abundance mindset.
Yes.
Recognizing that other people's success doesn't diminish our own potential, it expands it.
Robbins highlights how this applies to all areas of life.
Okay.
Careers, relationships, personal growth. Instead of feeling threatened by others' achievements,
Yeah.
we can choose to learn from them
Right.
and use that energy to fuel our own journey.
So we've covered stress, work, family, comparison, and through it all, Robbins is urging us to loosen our grip on control. But what about those situations where we do need to assert ourselves, to set boundaries? How does let them theory work in those situations?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And Robbins actually provides a specific framework
Okay.
for influencing change in others
Okay.
without resorting to control tactics.
Right.
She calls it the ABC loop.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Break down this ABC loop for me.
All right, so the ABC loop is a 3-step process.
Okay.
Apologize, back off, celebrate.
All right, let's dive into each step. What does it mean to apologize in this context?
So it's not about taking the blame for everything. It's about acknowledging any past behavior that might have contributed to the current situation. So Robbins emphasizes that it's about clearing the air
Okay.
and setting a tone of empathy and understanding.
So you're taking ownership of your part in the dynamic,
Yeah.
which can create space for a more productive conversation.
Yeah.
What happens after the apology?
The next step is to back off,
Okay.
which can be tough.
Yeah.
You know, it's about resisting that urge to lecture, to nag,
Right.
or control the other person.
Yeah.
Instead, you give them space
Okay.
to process their own thoughts and feelings.
Yeah.
And to come to their own conclusions.
I can see how that would be challenging. But sometimes the best thing we can do is give people the space to figure things out for themselves.
And while you're backing off, it's important to model the behavior
Okay.
you're hoping to see in the other person.
Right.
Robbins highlights the power of social contagion,
Okay.
meaning our actions can actually influence those around us.
It's like leading by example rather than trying to force someone to change.
Exactly. And finally, you celebrate any positive steps the other person takes,
Right.
even if they're small.
It's about positive reinforcement.
Yes.
Creating an environment where change feels achievable and rewarding.
The ABC loop isn't a quick fix.
Okay.
It's an ongoing process that takes patience and consistency,
Right?
but it's a powerful way to shift from a mindset of control to a mindset of influence.
So we've explored how let them theory can help us navigate stress, work, family, even politics and comparison. But there's one area we haven't touched on yet that can be a huge source of stress and heartache, love, and relationships.
That's where let them theory gets really interesting and maybe even a bit controversial.
All right, I'm ready for some real talk about relationships. I think we've all been there. Deciphering mixed signals,
Right.
Trying to figure out if someone is really into us or not.
It's a universal struggle.
It is.
And Robbins offers some pretty blunt advice.
Okay.
She says if someone genuinely likes you, you'll know it. You won't be left guessing or making excuses for their behavior.
It's about trusting our gut,
Yes.
paying attention to actions rather than words.
Exactly. And this is where let them comes in.
Okay.
Robbins encourages us to let them not text back.
Right.
Let them make empty promises. Let them ghost us.
So it's about giving ourselves permission to stop chasing after people who aren't truly interested.
Right. The let me in this scenario
Okay.
is about letting me see them for who they are.
Right.
Letting me accept the truth, even if it's painful.
It's about reclaiming our self-worth,
Yeah.
recognizing that we deserve to be with someone who's fully present and invested.
Robbins also gets into those situations where we're already in a relationship,
Okay.
but it's not serving us anymore.
That can be such a tough spot to be in.
Yeah.
How does let them theory apply to those situations?
Well, first, she provides a clear set of criteria
Okay.
for determining whether a relationship is worth fighting for.
Okay. I'm all ears. What are the make or break factors?
So there's two main ones. First, both people need to genuinely want the relationship to work
Okay.
and be willing to put in the effort to make things better.
So there needs to be a shared commitment to growth and change.
Exactly. It has to be a two-way street.
Right.
And second, the issues that are causing problems
Yeah.
shouldn't require either person to compromise their core values
Okay.
or give up on their dreams.
It's about finding someone who complements our path rather than forcing us to detour from it.
Robbins acknowledges that sometimes,
Mhm.
even in relationships where both partners are committed,
Okay.
there are just fundamental incompatibilities that can't be resolved.
Right.
She uses this example of a couple
Okay.
where one person gets a dream job offer in another country,
Okay.
but the other partner is deeply rooted where they live.
Oh, that's a tough one. It's like love versus individual aspirations.
And this is where let them theory can be really helpful.
Okay.
Robbins encourages the person whose partner is moving to let them pursue their dream, to recognize they can't control their partner's choices
Right.
or dictate their path.
It's about respecting your partner's autonomy, even if it means letting them go.
And the let me in this scenario
Okay.
is about letting me make a choice.
Okay.
Am I willing to uproot my life for this relationship?
Right.
Or am I willing to let go and prioritize my own goals and dreams?
It's about recognizing that sometimes the most loving choice is to let go.
And Robbins also provides guidance
Oh.
for dealing with heartbreak,
Right.
which is often an inevitable part of love and relationships.
Okay, give us some tips for surviving heartbreak.
So she recommends a period of no contact with your ex
Okay.
for at least 30 days.
So it's about creating space for emotional healing.
Exactly. And she encourages people to really allow themselves to grieve, to cry, to process their emotions,
Right.
to talk about the breakup with friends or family as many times as they need to.
It's about giving ourselves permission to feel the pain rather than trying to suppress it or rush through it.
She also emphasizes the importance of self-care during this time.
Yeah.
Getting enough sleep, eating nourishing food, exercising, spending time in nature, connecting with supportive friends and family.
It's about being kind to yourself and recognizing that you deserve to heal and move on.
I love this question she poses.
Okay.
If you knew the love of your life was just around the corner and this breakup was bringing you one step closer to meeting them,
Yeah.
how would you spend your time while you're single?
That's such a powerful reframing.
It is.
It shifts us from a place of scarcity and loss to a place of hope and possibility.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that endings can also be beginnings.
This has been such an insightful conversation.
It has.
We've covered so much ground with let them theory,
We have.
from handling daily stress to navigating complex relationships and career decisions.
And we've still got more to unpack. Deep divers, stay tuned for the final part of our exploration, where we'll delve even deeper into the let them theory and discover how to truly embrace our own let me era.
So we've seen how let them theory can be so helpful.
Right.
But what happens when we don't embrace this idea?
Yeah, what's the cost of, clinging to control?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
So Robbins asks us to imagine all the energy we waste
Yeah.
trying to force things to go our way.
Okay.
Wanting the line at the grocery store to move faster.
Right.
Wishing people would just text back.
You're right.
Obsessing over whether our boss truly appreciates us.
Yeah.
Craving more social media validation.
I'm starting to see the pattern here. It's like we're constantly trying to control things that are out of our hands.
Exactly. And all that effort just leaves us feeling exhausted and frustrated and often inadequate.
So true.
And so Robbins challenges us to think about it this way.
Okay.
What if we took all that energy we're wasting on things we can't control and redirected it towards something we can?
Okay.
Something that truly matters to us.
Right.
Like our personal growth, our passions,
Yeah.
or our relationships with the people who truly matter.
That's a huge shift in perspective.
It is.
It's about reclaiming our energy and investing it in things that actually move us forward. I'm guessing this also applies to missed opportunities.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Robbins talks about how clinging to control can actually keep us from taking risks, trying new things,
Right.
or pursuing our dreams.
Okay.
We might be too afraid to connect with someone
Right.
because we're worried about rejection.
Oh, yeah.
Or we might put off a creative project because we're waiting for the perfect time.
I've definitely been guilty of that.
Or waiting for someone else's approval.
Waiting for the stars to align instead of just taking action.
Right.
Yeah, it's so easy to let fear and self-doubt hold us back.
And she also points out that it's easy to fall into that comparison trap.
Oh.
You know, where we look at others' successes
Yeah.
and make excuses for why they've achieved things we haven't.
Right, like, oh, they were born into wealth.
Right.
They got lucky.
Life has been easier for
There are
them.
connections. Yeah.
But she challenges us to take responsibility for our own journey.
Okay, so instead of making excuses or comparing ourselves to others, we need to focus on what we can control, which is our own effort, our attitude, and our choices.
Robbins calls this radical responsibility.
Ooh, I like that.
It's about recognizing that if we're not happy with where we are in life, it's up to us to change it.
That's a powerful message.
It is.
It's not about blaming others or feeling like a victim.
No.
It's about taking ownership of our lives. But I imagine that can feel overwhelming for some people.
It can definitely be a challenge.
Yeah.
But it's also incredibly liberating.
I can see that.
You know, Robbins emphasizes that recognizing we are the architects of our own lives is not a condemnation, it's an invitation. It's the key to unlocking our let me era.
It's about stepping into our full potential, no longer limited by what we think others expect of us or the stories we tell ourselves about why we can't achieve our goals.
Exactly. And as we embrace our let me era,
Yeah.
Robbins encourages us to view let them theory,
Okay.
not as a rigid set of rules, but as a mindset shift,
Right.
a way of approaching the world with more grace, resilience,
I like that.
and intentionality.
So it's about letting go of that illusion of control, knowing that we can't control everything or everyone around us, but we can control how we choose to respond to those things.
Robbins reminds us that the journey won't always be easy.
All right.
There will be setbacks, there will be challenges,
Yeah.
there will be moments of self-doubt.
Oh, absolutely.
But by focusing on what we can control, our actions, our reactions, our boundaries, we empower ourselves to create a life that feels truly authentic and fulfilling.
It's not about striving for some perfect, stress-free existence. It's about developing a more resilient and empowered approach to navigating the ups and downs of life.
Yeah, she uses the beautiful analogy of a constantly shifting sky.
Oh, I like that.
You know, sometimes it's clear and blue.
Yeah.
Other times it's filled with clouds or storms.
Right.
And we can't control the weather,
Right.
but we can choose how we respond to it.
Yeah.
We can either let it dictate our mood and our day, or we can choose to find shelter, dance in the rain,
Right.
or simply appreciate the beauty of the changing sky.
This deep dive into let them theory has been truly eye-opening.
It has.
It's given us so much to think about in terms of how we approach our work,
Yeah.
our relationships, the relationship we have with ourselves.
And it's a powerful reminder that sometimes the most empowering choice we can make is to simply let go.
It is. It is. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this deep dive into let them theory.
It's been a pleasure.
It really has. As always, deep divers, thank you so much for listening, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.